Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from our space. Updated. Saw my best friend's creepy dad kissing the person he's in love with. His family kicked him out after I told them. Hey, I'm 19 male. My friend, A, is 19 male too, and has dealing for her other friend, P, who's 18 female, and who we've known our whole lives. Last night, I was walking from my job back to campus when I saw P going back into the dorms with a guy wearing a hoodie. I was going to shout out to her, but then I saw the guy wrap his arms around her and kiss her goodbye. After I turned around, it took me a second to recognize him because he normally dressed differently, but it was A's dad for sure. A told me last year he had feelings for P, and apparently he's had them for a while, but he hasn't said anything to her because she said she's not interested in dating while she's here because she's on a scholarship and needs to keep up her grades. A's parents are married, and he has younger siblings. I don't know if I should tell him what I saw or stay out of it. I think I'd want to know, but I've never been in a situation like this, so I don't know. Updated. I had every intention of telling my parents and getting their advice, but then A invited me out. For a big part of the night, P was there with us. We had a few drinks, and after P left, A was basically saying how they had hung out earlier in the day, how he was going to tell her about his feelings for her, etc. I ended up telling him about what I saw, but I told him I had literally zero context and didn't know what the exact situation was. He thought I was messing with him at first. He thought I was pulling a prank. We went to P's room, and he was like, "Are you effing my dad? And you do look me in the eyes and tell me you aren't effing my dad." And she immediately started crying, saying that she felt horrible for what she was doing, and she felt horrible for lying to us and hurting A's family and mom, but it just started happening, and she didn't know how to stop it from happening. A was really mad. He told her it was disgusting. He's known her since she was a kid. He was just sobbing and kept apologizing over and over, so he thought it was for the best if we left and let her roommate calm her down. I tried to calm A down, but then he called his mom and was just like, "Did you know Dad was sleeping with P?" And she thought it was messing with her, and she kept asking him how much he'd had to drink, but she finally realized he was telling the truth, and I could hear her yell through the other side of the phone, I guess to A's dad, "Is it the truth? Is he telling the truth?" So the aftermath of all this is that A's dad was kicked out of the house. His mom is next level pissed, destroying his crap level pissed. P's parents are pissed too. Apparently the altercation A's dad had with her dad didn't end well. It wasn't physical or anything, just ugly, I heard. I don't know when the relationship started, but I guess the timing is suspicious enough that the cops came and talked to P, who was doing all right, but just mainly wants to be left alone right now. A is still pissed. He's blowing off classes and binge drinking, and said he doesn't plan on stopping until he forgets about his pathetic father. All of this sucks, but I know I couldn't have kept this from A. He's my best friend, and I couldn't keep that from him. I know some people think I should have kept my mouth shut, but I think that would be a pretty crappy thing to do to a friend. Our first reaction comes from Salty Danger Hands. You 100% did the right thing. Being a good friend isn't always going to be a fun thing. Hard truths, tough love, and honesty all demand sacrifice. You did great. Sorry it sucks. Next up, a comment from Feralist. You did the hard yet right thing, OP. I'm sorry for your friend. Another quick comment from Appropriate Resist 26. Methinks the girl was groomed and dad is a pedo. Last comment before move on. Scattering Bones says, I also kind of suspect this. Dad seems like a total creep. The next story starts off, found out wife cheated on me during her pregnancy. So this is just an insane story. Backstory, wife and I have been together for 15 years and married going on 4 years. We met in college, fell in love, and were best friends. When we graduated, she went to grad school. When I moved back home, we had a long-distance relationship for 4 years. During that time, I focused on my job and saved money, busing every other weekend. She graduates grad school and moves up to where I live. 2 years later, I bought a condo. After, she nags me that she is sick of living with roommates and we move in together. I wait to get married because I want to make sure she finishes residency and she can be trusted. The whole time she is asking me to get married. We get married and she starts asking when you want a baby. Again, I wait a couple of years to make sure everything is okay. During that time, we are best of friends and have a great lifestyle going on, 3 vacations a year. We both work hard and like to play hard too. I would say we have an A+ relationship. We start trying to have a baby and finally conceive. A month later, we close on a new house, which needs a ton of work. A month later, the COVID crisis happens. She works in a hospital, and we are now very worried because she is pregnant and there is no way we can start rehabbing the house. During this time period, we are very stressed. She becomes very withdrawn and is always texting on her phone with her friend. I am also working full-time and general contracting the whole rehab of the house. I show up to the house at 7, then go to work and get back to the house at 4:15, and work at the house on weekends. During this time period, my wife is very withdrawn and always talking to her female coworker friend. I figure she is just venting off the stress of COVID at the hospital. Late into her pregnancy, things just get very bizarre. She starts dressing like a teenage boy skateboarder. She then has a major crying breakdown one night. She's crying so hard that I get worried she's going to lose the baby. I just chalk it up to pregnancy hormones. We have a baby. I am over the moon, and she is also a little happy. 2 weeks after having the baby, she is still very depressed. In an effort to help her, I look through her phone and I find texts with her best friend and her female coworker that they have been sleeping with each other. We have a major blow-up. Long story short, we go to couples therapy. It's the toughest time of my life. We are still together. It's been 13 months since I found out. We are in the new house. We are in a better place than where we were. I have come to the realization that I am only with her for my daughter. I could not do joint custody. I'm only 95% happy. I'm still very hurt and have periods when I'm still freaking pissed. But I believe in both a mother and a father in my daughter's life. This was draining, reliving it, just looking for advice. Ask for advice and you'll get it. From D Reddit Avenger, I know someone whose parents stayed for the kid. It caused all kinds of problems in that person's marriage because they didn't know how to be affectionate. The marriage that was modeled for them was a business-like partnership. Not a lot of fighting, but not a lot of love. So that is how that person did marriage. Caused all kinds of problems for them because their spouse was starved for physical attention. This person's parents got divorced after they grew up anyway. I say that to say, marrying a loveless marriage is probably not something to do to help your kid grow up to be emotionally healthy. Better to be from divorced parents where at least one of them is happy, than one where both are miserable. Next thought comes from Electrical Clock 597. You want some advice? Leave now. I understand same with your wife so your child can grow up in a two-parent household, but you know good and well that you will not be able to play pretend for the next 18 years. Don't be foolish and make your exit. Educational Brother 75 has a thought. You stayed for your daughter? Ridiculous. This marriage is over. Sorry if this is not what you wanted to hear, but I assure you, none of you two will be happy with this. Instead of getting out while your daughter is still a baby, you're going to make the child go through a bunch of trauma as she grows up. Is the baby even yours? Moving on. I caught my wife having an online affair, and I feel like I'm losing my mind. I, 37 male, just found out this weekend my wife, 37 female, of 15 years, was having an online affair with an 18-year-old high school kid. She's been sexing him, Snapchatting him naked pictures, but nothing physical. And because of that, she refuses to acknowledge that she actually cheated on me. She keeps telling me it was just a verbal fling, or just stupid flirting. I'm trying my hardest to find a way to keep my sanity, but all I can do is cry and bear this hurt while she's tried to convince me it wasn't cheating. Is she right? Is it just a verbal fling? Edit. Sorry I haven't answered back to most posts. I was on a flight to head back to my parents for some support and just feel like I am loved. To answer the serious questions, I honestly have no way of finding out any info on the kid she cheated on me with. All I know is he lived a few states away. I was in too much shock initially to even process that she could be a pedophile. We have 3 sons together, one of which is 14 freaking years old. God, I feel so disgusted. I know she wouldn't hurt our sons in that way. Our first reaction comes from USAF Retired 2017. My ex tried this. He said he didn't consider an emotional affair an affair. What? Look up what an emotional affair is, homie, and tell me that crap didn't happen. But because he didn't recognize it as an affair, he did nothing wrong. I told him what mattered was how I viewed it. He was going outside the marriage by sexting and having intimate conversations with this woman. He continued to gaslight me into thinking I was crazy and that I was overreacting. Don't let her do this to you. You're not crazy or overreacting. And it wasn't a verbal fling. That's the dumbest crap ever. It was an emotional affair, and if she can't hold herself accountable, she'll most likely do it again. Next thought comes from Da Loco 6913. You have a bigger problem, bud. Depending on his age, when it started, you might be married to a pedophile. If she does not want to admit responsibility, you will remain in this pain constantly. She chose a kid. How long was it going on? Was the kid underage when she started grooming him? See a lawyer and file the papers. This will tell her that you are also entitled to your choices. This process can be stopped at any stage. Separate finances. Take your ring off and put it where she can see it. Get tested for STDs, but you need to leave the pamphlets out. This is a slap in the face for her as you now reveal how little trust you have in her. You are telling her that her behavior tells you that she has done this before. If there are kids, DNA test them. Again, leaving any literature for her to find. I know this seems drastic, but until she really acknowledges her infidelity, you cannot save the marriage. You'll never heal, and trust will be a myth. She is the bad guy, and she chose to blow up her marriage. Tycho Gisard chimes in. Sexual contact, physical or virtual, is cheating. Denial and minimizing is the first layer of defense for a cheater. Sir Metallicus 116 thinks, as long as you're not okay with it, it's cheating. She knows what it is. She just tried to manipulate you into thinking it's smaller than what it is now that she's caught.